Hello, Facebook Live. I am popping in. It's Dr. Allie. Jumping in a few minutes late because I have had a very, very full evening of taking classes with my wonderful coach. We take a business academy class, so I am popping in later because class went a little longer. And I wanted to share with you guys some cool tips because I don't know if you noticed, I posted a really cool article that I contributed to where we were sharing some of the things that our parents did that we are no longer trying to do with our kids. So as you're popping in, just make sure you say your name. Let me know where you're coming from so I can give you a shout out sometime throughout the either the live or during the playback. Also, make sure you share it with your friends, with your tribe, because it's going to be good stuff as usual. So what made me think about this was the fact that I remember when I had Zachary and my mom had all these things and all these rules that she thought I could do and I should do. And I remember at the beginning saying to myself, well, she must knows what she's talking about because she had me, right? So I have to follow her. I have to do exactly what she says so that I can be this awesome, amazing mom, right? And this is way before he was on the spectrum. Then eventually, hi, Gloria, thanks for passing through. And make sure you share this out. Then eventually I started to realize that every child is different. And especially children on the spectrum, they are definitely different in the way that we approach things with them. So one of the things I remember sharing, and I shared this in the piece in Healthy Way, was that our parents would say, children should be seen and not heard. Okay, you try that with a child on the spectrum. Thank you, Gloria. You try that with a child on the spectrum, seen and not heard, when they sometimes have absolutely not much control over what comes out their mouth at certain times. Some things will just come out without even planning, without even thinking. Sometimes to our surprise, we'd be like, oh my God, did he just say that? And we're busy trying to work on teaching them where it's okay to say things and where it's not okay to say things. But being seen and not heard, it's always been something that has just not rubbed me the right way because I don't want him to be in a situation. This is for children that are quote unquote neurotypical also. You don't want them to be in a situation where they're just there and they're not allowed to express anything in terms of how they feel. Of course, there's certain times, there's certain times when it's okay and it's not okay, and we teach them that, and we continuously work on that. But that whole rigidity of be seen and not heard, that just doesn't cut it in my book. So tell me, how does that work in your household? Being seen and not heard as a child. Is it something that you reinforce? Is it something that you like? Is it something that you try to get done? Or is it something that you realize that you can't get done as much? Another thing that I was raised with was you cannot leave and this is in the article as well, you cannot leave the table until you eat everything off your plate. How many of you guys were raised with that same, you can't leave the table unless everything is eaten off your plate? I know I'm definitely one. And if you're one, raise your hand so I know that I'm not the only one on this conversation. Now imagine our children. Our picky eaters. Zachary only eats certain things, and to get him sometimes to eat everything, it's a constant back and forth. So we agree on trying to get him to eat a certain amount, and sometimes we'll push him or we'll ask him to eat a little bit more, and sometimes we'll get a little bit more in. But I definitely don't believe in forcing a child to eat. Forcing a child to finish their plate. Yes, we can speak to them about eating more. Yes, we can speak to them about maybe saving some and then trying again later. Create a plan or create a structure where you can still get them to do the things that you want them to get done, but it's not all the way on the other end of the side of the thing. Cause eating disorder. I hated mealtime. Exactly. So see, some of these things are things that we have to be very conscious of what we heard our parents doing, and then trying to implement them in our home. We don't have to do everything that they say. And if I have any, if my mom's watching, I'm sorry, I love you. And I tell her all the time, Zachary is such a different child. Some of the things that you think may have worked with myself and my brother are not the same things that are going to work with him. And I try, but of course, trying and then observing him, then I have to make the changes. I call those my modifications, the way that in which it has to work for that day. And let me tell you, is it one gigantic rule that works every single day? Nope. That's not how our life is. Our life is completely unpredictable. Autism is unpredictability. And being able to accept, being able to work around, and being able to sometimes say, you know what, it is just not worth the fight. It's not worth the struggle. It's not worth what's going to go on back and forth. It's not worth the behaviors that are going to happen as a result of this. So that's two that I give you so far. So if you're enjoying this, make sure you share this information with other people that are out there because they need to understand it. I've had too many moms. Let me introduce myself. My name is Dr. Allie, Alicia Griffith, and I am an autism mom, coach, author. By trade, I'm an audiologist and speech pathologist, so that makes me a communication expert. I am the author of Amazing Gift, A Journey to Autism Acceptance, bestseller, and in the process of doing the second edition at this moment, hopefully to be released for the holidays. Exactly. So why I come in to share this information with you is because I have dealt with and I've worked with so many parents over the 20 years of my experience working with families. And I've heard all of these complaints or all these concerns during different times of us being together. Hi, Nima, Dr. Nima. And when I noticed that so many people are coming with their concerns, I'm like, let me just address it all in one. You can't follow everything that your parent did because your child is individual, they're different, they're unique, they're themselves. Am I saying take everything our parents said and throw it out the window? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that because trust me, I learned a lot of key values from my mom. I learned a lot of key structures of things of what I have to implement in my home. I've just learned to be fluid and flexible. It's just something that we have to do at home. We have to understand that not everything that worked one day is not necessarily going to work all the days. So if you have any of the wonderful things that your parents did that you had to change, make sure to put it down in our thread. Make sure to let everyone know this is some of the things that you learned when you were a kid and you had to take that, ball it up, and throw it out the window. Sorry, but very true. Thank you, Dr. Nima. My last thing, and the last thing I wanted to share with you guys, this is something that is dear, dear, dear to my heart, and I see it a lot. I come from a family where we're Caribbean, where they believed in spanking, okay? It wasn't something that was done often, but it was something that was done. And I remember there came a time when my mom moved from spanking, and it wasn't something that was done all the time because, that's just what we were raised with. But I knew when I became a parent that it was something that I didn't want to reinforce. It was something I didn't want to go down that direction because I felt it killed my voice. It killed my spirit. At that moment most times when parents are spanking, and I used to look at it, they're usually spanking because they themselves are at a point where they can't handle whatever's happening. So instead of using their words, they use their hands. Instead of using their words, they're using other means of handling the situation. Nope, not for our kids. I am seriously urging you, there are other ways that we can work with our kids to work on training or work on developing certain behaviors that we would like to happen. Communication. Yes, I will always jump back to communication. Speak to them. Let them know what's okay, what's not okay. And then if certain things, they do certain things and it doesn't result in what needs to happen, then as a result of that, this is what is going to happen. You have to have a consequence as a result of a certain behavior that is desired and undesired. Make sure you praise the one that's desired also. Don't just only go for the ones that are undesired. And the consequences can be so many different things. In fact, sometimes you can sit and plan What are the consequences? What are the things that if, as a result of this, what's going to be taken away? What's going to be removed? What's going to be temporarily put aside for a certain amount of time? We do not have to respond with spanking. We do not have to respond with go to your room. That whole go to your room thing. I've never quite understood that. That you're like, okay, go to your room. It's like, I don't need you in front of my face anymore. No. If I want to sit down and deal with the situation, I'm going to ask you, have a seat over there. I'm going to take my deep breaths because that's what we need to do as parents. We need to take our deep breaths when we're having those moments because we are going to constantly have them. That's what kids do to us. And we teach them when they're having those moments and they feel like they want to respond, move to the side, take a few minutes, take some deep breaths, and then come back in and let's figure out how we're going to deal with the situation, how we're going to speak about the situation, how we're going to work through the situations. So let's say no to trying to if this information is sounding good, if it's sounding like something that you needed to hear, then definitely let me know. Put in some emojis. Let me know that I'm saying something that you need to hear. A hands up or something to let me know that you're in this. All right, guys. So I'm going to get ready to get off because I'm getting ready to go teach my masterclass, Ignite Your Amazing. Tonight we're doing connection, which is one of my favorite topics. I thought it was communication, but we did that before. It's actually connection. So we're going to go into that for an hour, and I just wanted to make sure I did our Let's Talk Autism on Tuesday. It's been a while, but I want to make sure that I'm still touching you, and we're still having our moments where we can share. For those that pop in a few, make sure you share this with your tribe. Make sure you share this with others because they need to hear it too. Stop asking your kids to eat everything on their plate. You cannot remove from the table unless you eat everything on your plate. Stop being so obsolete in everything. I'm absolute. So absolute as part of the absolute in everything. Figure out ways how to be fluid and flexible. Understand that they're unique individuals. Spanking is definitely not the answer. And of course, please keep their voice open. Don't let it be seen and not heard. I want to hear you. What you're saying is important. And it's important that our children know that what they say is important because they are valuable also. Time and place, of course, we can always work on that, but let's not take away their voice. All right, guys, I'll see you guys later. It was wonderful talking with you. Hopefully, I'll get to touch with you again next Tuesday. It was my pleasure. Now let me get to going and be my coach, Dr. Allie, and get in with my group. I love you. I hope you enjoyed the time together. And of course, stay amazing all the way through. Bye.